All right. Welcome, everybody. We are back. I just heard myself on the playback here. I've got the video chat. I'm sharing the stream right now on Instagram to let everybody know that we're live. How's everybody doing tonight? Quade, Pete, Mel, Gregory, Jake, appreciate y'all being here. Just gonna share. There we go. Aside from a tornado, oh no. Well, I hope you're safe. Mel, thank you. Appreciate that. It's getting out of hand. All right, there we go. I had to share what we're going to be looking at tonight because I put in the title that we've got new zines and we've got some, at least one I know, very special zine that we're going to be taking a look at together here in just a bit. So I'm excited to share that one. So when did you and Nick Carver decide that you're growing your hair out together? It is funny that that works out that way, and he and I are always getting comparisons to one another in terms of our looks. Every week we get here, I know I've made it over the hump. Yep, I feel that. What's up, Matt? What's up, Nate? Good to see everybody. Let me go ahead and not waste any more time. We're only a minute in here, past 9 o'clock when we start. I normally like to give people some time. We'll give it another minute or so before we really start digging in, but we've got a few zines here. Kevin O'Mara, one of my best friends. This is a very special one, and we'll get to it. As Far as You Know by Nathan Pierce. Just picked this up, as well as Kicked Out by Andrew. I don't know if I ever have heard his last name pronounced. McEnany? Something like that. Yeah, we're going to take a look at some zines tonight. Michael, what's up? Let's start with Kicked Out. Let's start with this here. We've been talking, I feel like last week we were talking about zines and we were kind of sifting through some of the zine bins that I have here. Maybe we'll do that again here in a little bit, but this past week, since last week's stream, I just so happened to get several zines in the mail, so thought this would be a perfect time to dig into these together. I haven't looked at this one. I've only looked at Walking the Dog by Kevin. I love that. That's an interesting, like the two faces right here. All of that kind of leading in, and then their faces on the sides. I don't know. I like that pairing there. I like this format for this zine. The size and feel of it. It's like a really glossy, but I can't. It reminds me of something. There's something, I don't know what that's reminding me of, but like the feel of it. It's almost like the school yearbooks that we had when we were growing up. The way it's printed, I don't know, something about it. I like it though. These are rad. I don't know. I haven't looked through this yet, so I mean, I ordered it, so I remember reading the gist at the time, but yeah, we'll see if there's a little bit of context in here at the end. It's reassuring to see that photos and zines and professional work aren't always perfect. I obsess about the smallest imperfections that others won't notice. Yeah, that's always an interesting thing when I've always found that certain things that would bother me, I don't mind at all when other people do certain things, break rules or do just specific things that, like, we all have our own little, like, weird quirks and preferences. John says, I'd be curious to learn how many are printing their own or sending it off to a professional printer. Yeah, we'll take a look at some that you can absolutely print yourself at home. For instance, this laser printer that I have, I could make small, very, very cost effective and affordable zines. The print quality isn't going to be anything spectacular, but that's what the zine is for. It's meant to be a much more accessible, entry for both the creator, author, as well as the viewer, The bar blocking the guy's face would rule out the photo if it was mine, but it works in this zine. It seems to break the rules. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, certain things like the edge of a frame, if there were something like right up here at the top that, for instance, like a building, if any of that was visible up here at the top, but then it wasn't, either parallel with the frame or if it got cut off at any point, things like that, that's the kind of stuff that would bug me. But if other people did it, I'm like, well, it's fine. It's not my photo. I don't really care what rules they break or don't break. All right. All photos taken by, MC, you all help me here. MC Enaney, McEnany, I believe. Andrew, if you ever see this, I apologize. Between October 17th and 20th, 2024, at the State Fair in Texas and Dallas. Film developed and scanned by Memento Film Lab in Toronto. Layout and design by Andrew McEnany and Rena Webb. First edition of 100, printed by Mixam in Chicago. So, John, there's your question right there. This was printed by Mixam. I have, I believe, several zines from different photographers that I've bought that have printed their work with Mixam. So, yeah, awesome stuff. Mel says, I do wonder how many of my images people would think are good, but I've judged way too harshly. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's, it's always funny to find what other people are really interested in. With any of my, like, series or projects or anything, it's always photos that I love that I'm like, I'm anxious to hear what other people's thoughts are. And so, sometimes that pans out, but a lot of times it's like the one that I'm really curious to get feedback on, people will just like gloss right over, and then they have a lot more questions about something that, I'm less interested in. That's like always how it goes. So Gregory Mel, I hate every one of my photos. I feel that way. Most of the stuff that I look at of my own, trying to be better about that. Yeah, it's tough. I used Mixam for my zine. Can recommend. Oh, good to know, Michael. Appreciate you saying that. That's good to know. Like I said, I feel like I've bought several zines, and friends that have printed through Mixam. I haven't personally, but I think depending on what you're going for. for a zine, something like that, something that's like low cost and print on demand, something like that could, or well, I guess maybe they're not print on demand, but any of those services, it's a little bit better to go that route unless you're going for like a hardcover, like a more high end, especially for the cost and like what you would charge for something like that. That's where it could get a little dicey, but Quaid says the ones I gloss over in my work always get the most interactions. Yeah, that's always how it goes. I mean, that's YouTube as well, you know. The videos that I'm excited about, the photo book videos, those aren't the videos that people are excited about. The videos where I interview other photographers and have other photographers come on the channel, I thought that would be like what everyone would want. And it's like every time I have someone on, at least recently, it gets way less traction. So I'm like, I don't know. I thought it'd be exciting to hear from this person, but I don't know. That could be on me as well. Who was social distancing made with? That was made with MagCloud. Let me grab that. Actually, here. We'll grab several of these. So, yeah. Since we're talking zines, Matt, I have 2 of your books. Your photos are great. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you, Jason. I'm glad you enjoy them. Sam says, I just did a print of 150 with Mixam, and it was great. They even took care of a print mistake instantly. That's good to know. That's great. And even like, if things aren't going to be perfect, if you can at least stand by any mistakes, and like, if the customer service is great, that goes a long way for me. So, okay. So this was my very first zine that I ever did, and this was printed at an Office Max here locally. And then I just had them, you know, essentially print everything off, and then I folded and stapled everything. And yeah, it's nothing crazy in terms of the print quality, but for a zine, it's that one ended up getting some traction. That one too. Having something like this just printed locally, I think this was like an edition of 50 maybe. I don't remember. I think it was 50. Something like that was great. The Little Mountains, this was printed by my friend Caleb Jenkins. He printed everything with a laser, like a color laser printer that he had. Printed everything and then bound, you know, stitched everything himself. So this one was made sort of in collaboration with Caleb. He helped me put this one together. And then social distancing was MagCloud. And this was during the pandemic, obviously, like April of 2020. So right when things got cooking. And the great thing about this was, obviously, with everything going on then, I didn't have to mess with shipping anything at all. It was all print on demand. So it was like I basically had it open for a certain amount of time in order to raise money for the food banks. And then essentially once it was done, then I just took it off and made it to where it wasn't available for purchase anymore. So that's a nice, if you want to go with something where it's not going to be, you're not dealing with a ton of inventory and a ton of cost either, and you want to just make something, you can literally make this and have 1 copy made for yourself. You can have 20 copies made. You can have whatever you want. And it's a good way of getting started if you're wanting to make it more available to more people, I should say. The best way to get started is literally a single sheet of copy paper and then folding it and making a couple small cuts in a way that you can get a little small pocket zine from one single sheet of paper. That would be the way to get started. But if you want something that's relatively simple to get into, something like MagCloud or any of these print-on-demand services, for stuff like zines, I think they're great. Let's see here. Check that. We're going to take a look at Nathan Pierce's zine, As Far As You Know. Let me see here. Right here. I've bought several of Nathan's zines over the years, as well as a book of his, High and Lonesome, that was put out by Deadbeat Club. Actually, I'll go ahead and grab that. So we're talking about zines tonight, but High and Lonesome. This is a really, really good, beautiful book that Deadbeat Club put out a couple of years ago, somewhere around there. If you like the kind of stuff that I like, yeah, this would, I think, appeal to a lot of people. High and Lonesome by Nathan Pierce. Great stuff. This is a new little zine, though. Zoom in a little bit for this one. I love that. Yeah, I like that. That pairing, and then know if this will really come across that well without getting very close. I don't know if you can see the Jesus is King signs. That's funny. Oh, wow. I really love that. I like this. It's like you're kind of, your perspective is right here on the corner of this barbed wire fence, sort of this like protective barrier. And then with this dad right here with his arm kind of in front of his daughter there. That's awesome. love the pairing of those. As far as you know. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, guys. I had a feeling my chat is not updated. One sec. There we go. I gotta bounce back. Okay. My chat was not updated. I just thought you guys were being particularly quiet. Let me get caught up here. Wow, I am so far behind now. Sorry, guys. I remember being super impressed when you edited social distancing entirely on your iPad. It helped my decision in buying the iPad Pro myself. That's wild. That's awesome, though. Yeah, that's the only time I've ever done that, but I want to start making more smaller zines, more smaller editions, more affordable editions, all of those things. So yeah, I might try it again on the iPad. I also am considering trying to find Adobe replacements entirely, like a replacement for Photoshop, Illustrator, Lightroom, any of the things that I might use on my iPad or even the like on my MacBook. Yeah, I feel like some apps for things like that, I don't know. I'm tired of paying ridiculous amounts for Adobe's subscription. And the fact that you can, like, I normally do the whole thing where I opt out or try to cancel in order for them to send me an offer to get me a lower rate. Hey, that's not right. If you can give me that rate, give me that rate. Oh, Kevin's in the chat. Kevin, we're about to walk the dog. We're about to visit Jackie. Adobe's InDesign is just too good, he says. True, but I can't. I'm done. I'm done with paying for Adobe. Matt, have you ever shot Rolly infrared film? I have not. How many pages was that one? I'm assuming you're probably talking about social distancing. I probably didn't number it because, I didn't. Like 16 pages-ish, 16, 18, somewhere around there. So then double that if you're thinking front and back. You know what I mean. Let's see. How did meet Nathan Pierce? How did I meet Nathan Pierce? I personally have never met Nathan Pierce. I know of Nathan Pierce, who we were just taking a look at because of Kevin, who was in the chat, who we're going to be taking a look at Kevin's work right here. Let me see here. There we go. Someone says, I tried using Darkroom and could not get used to it. Yeah, some of the... I feel like for individual photos, some of those apps work, but I want to find something that works well for catalogs, which is where I think Lightroom has been, the most useful for me. Oh, wow. I just now saw your other one, Kevin, about Nelly. Never stops. All right, so Kevin, Do you want to do the honors in the chat and explain this one, or would you like me to talk through it? This is Jackie, which you can see right here. Hold on, I got to put my mic back in the... There we go. All right. Kevin says, go ahead. All right. So we've got Jackie in the back seat back here. First of all, Kevin, I don't know what made you go with the colored paper, but I'm glad you did. Also this one. Yeah. Let me zoom in a little bit here. It says, may God be with you right here. I also loved that little slight continuation right there and that little gap with the sidewalk. Kevin, if this is your porch that it looks to be, I ripped many darts right there on that porch. The weekend of shipping friend of mine, just going through it. The colored paper was Jackie's color palette, of course. Oh. I love this pairing. I love both of the photos, but the two of them together, yeah. Asymmetrical staple job. The long arm stapler doesn't always hit the mark. Hey, man. Even the best hammers don't always hit, you know? That's so good. I love this. And, yeah. This here is Jackie. And as Kevin put it the other day, you know, the idea of this being walking Jackie in this pocket while taking the photos, and the idea being, as Kevin said, you can take Jackie for your own walk as well. This is, in fact, some of Jackie here that went out with each of these zines. Kevin, you can let us know in the chat how many of these copies. I know you were handing out a bunch at one of the book fairs recently, but yeah, that's Jackie was a very sweet girl. I was fortunate enough to spend some time with her, and yeah, I was super happy to see this. Obviously, bittersweet. That's way heavier than I was expecting. That's why I didn't give no context, there was no warning on that one. With that in mind. Yeah, Kevin told me about this on the phone after he had already made it, and I was just like, oh, the idea of it, I love, and knowing Jackie as well, yeah, just hit me hard. And yeah, Kevin's the man. Super, super hyped that he made this. Yeah, I'm glad you all enjoyed that as well. Ash is optional. You don't have to have them, he says. Sound is too low here. Oh, is it? Here, let me know. Let me know how that sounds. I'm adjusting it here on my end. I'll be making them as long as there are ashes available. Oh, hell yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Kevin, if there's a place where people can pick one up, drop a link in the chat or something, cuz yeah. The concept alone is amazing, you know, but the photos as well, and some of these pairings I just love. Yeah. Super, super good. But I want to, that's the thing. Kevin and I had a conversation on the phone about it after it arrived, and having the outlet and just making the things instead of instead of just thinking about it. Can't just keep thinking about it. Got to do it. And I'm glad you did it, Kevin. Kevin says, hit the DMs. Haven't updated the website in a while. Yeah, I feel that. Yep. Kevin printed these himself. Yeah, I feel like, let me grab. Got some more zines here. That's rad. Where's Tim at? Tim still in here? Colored the pages by hand, so there was always a variety. There you go. If Tim is still here in the chat, I think he was in here earlier. He's usually here. Got one of Tim's zines from back in the day. Tim to the front. Tim's here. Hell yeah, Tim. This is another one that, yeah, just reminds me of home. Same kind of stuff. Good stuff. Pay attention, Tim. Eyes forward, sir. But yeah, how's everybody's week been? We finally got some good weather. I've been working on a new video just sort of over the last few days. Filmed a music video a few days ago, and then my payment for that music video was this right here. An old faithful has returned. Get some better light in here. Look at this thing. It's cleaned up now. It was pretty rough when I got it. My boy Josh Richter. He asked me to shoot a music video for his band, and I had been wanting to pick up another FM2, and one of my all-time favorites. It was what I used like religiously before I got my M6, and then even after I got the M6, I still shot with the FM2 a lot for years and at different times. But naturally, I was wanting to pick up another one again, and I was like, "Yeah, do you still have that FM2 that you were selling?" He was like, "Yeah, I still have it. I'll give you that and all 3 lenses I have for it in exchange for that video." So we've got the 35 f2, which is what's on there, 50 1.8. I can't. It's been so long. This isn't the. You guys will have to remind me if anyone remembers. I don't think this is the E. Was the E like the pancake lens? I can't remember. It's been a while since I've had the FM2 or any Nikon F lenses, so I can't remember which one this is, but it's a 50 1.8. It's the AIS, okay. And then the 35 f2, I believe this is also the AIS. It's the same one I had years ago. Focus is down super, super close. Yeah, the Series E was the cheap. Okay, that's what I thought. Appreciate that. I was thinking it was, but man, it's been well over 10 years since I had that one, because I did have that lens at one point. It was the pancake lens. And then we've also got the 24 f2.8, which I have never had this lens. I don't think I've ever had any 24 millimeter like manual lens. I think the only 24 millimeter lens I've ever bought has been like digital prime lenses that I've used for like filming YouTube videos. But I was kind of messing around with it, just looking through it before I actually loaded anything up. And I don't know, I think I'm going to have fun just messing around with this one. It also works well mounting this on the D60 for Elliot. So I've still got this D60, and it's great for Elliot, or when I take it to the school that I shoot for and let some of the kids use one of my cameras. I'll bring this with me, and that's why I've got a Peak Design anchors on this old Nikon. I just throw one of my camera straps on it and let the kids use it. But adapting this, not adapting, but you know, it's a 24 on an old APS-C. With that, he's got a nice little, what would that be? A 24 APS-C. That's a 40, a 48? Or wait, no. No. I'm doubling it. That's wrong. Quick maths. It's like a 36 or something. 36, 35. Yeah. Let's see. Curious about buying used cameras. Any advice? eBay, B&H used, others. KEH, if you're buying from like a retailer, that would be my place to go. Depending on the people, or like depending on where you're buying it, and the person you're buying from, eBay and like Facebook Marketplace, those things can work. But having something like a warranty is really nice. So KEH would be where that's what I would recommend for used gear. Paulie B, what's up, brother? Nikon F gang. You already know what it is. Yeah, this 24 though, I'm going to try it out. We're going to see how it goes. I have no idea how much use it will get, but this live stream is sponsored by Squarespace and KEH. Not today. Not today. If they want to cut a check, they can let me know, but otherwise, not in this one. My FM2 was bargain grade, but just the slight signs of wear. The 51.8 was excellent and is damn near new. Yeah, that's what I've always loved about their grading system is how conservative they are about things like that. Where if you buy bargain grade, it's going to have some signs of use, but it's not going to be anything to worry about. That's normally what I aim for is bargain grade. Even I think I made a video about it. I tested out like an ugly grade lens, and I mean it was rough, but it was definitely usable. I got the 20 millimeter 3.5, and I love it, even though I don't normally shoot wide. I don't know if I've ever had anything like other than a fisheye or something crazy wide. That range between like a 16 millimeter and a 24 or 28. I feel like that's just a certain range that I haven't really tried many lenses out. Like I know there are some 21 millimeter Leica lenses that to me has always just seemed like such an odd focal length, but I mean really all of them are kind of arbitrary, I guess. Yard sales and thrift have got slim. Yeah, I was talking about that to someone the other day. We went into a Goodwill and I was looking through the cameras and didn't see anything. And I was like, man, it's been a long time since I've come across anything at a thrift store. And a lot of stuff nowadays, I mean, if they know what they've got, sometimes the pricing, it's like, you're better off going on eBay or something. Let me see here. 35. Oh, that was when. Okay. Sorry, I was confused. That was when we were talking about the what that focal length would be converted. Got a Canonet QL17 as a thrift store for $45 last week. Damn, Neil. That's a good come up. I haven't seen one of those out in the wild in a long time. Mel says, I really want to get the Voigtlander 15. My current project is Redwoods, so I need the scope. Oh, that would be sick. Yeah, I remember seeing that one, the 15. It's like the super wide Heliar or something. I remember seeing that in mount lens a long time ago with the little viewfinder on top and just thinking how, I don't know. I have that in mount fisheye lens, that TT Artisan, but I pretty much only adapt it to my digital cameras. Like I adapted it to my S5 II. When I had that, I've adapted it to the Z8. I haven't used it for any photos on the M6. So just bought a new Summicron 28 millimeter and love it. First, I was not sure about spending the money, but now that I got it, I'm happy I did. I'm glad to hear that. That's that's always getting buyer's remorse on a Leica lens or any expensive lens. It's not a good feeling. I don't know if I've ever had that on a Leica lens. Let me think. Maybe the Summilux. The close focusing really like the novelty of having close focus abilities in one of those lenses that sold me, and then I sold it not long after that. Just didn't take advantage or make use of that enough to justify it. Yep, 35 lux. Kevin said it. All right. Let me grab another zine here. See what you guys want to flip through. Oh, hell yeah. Dang, some of these are old. Jai Tanju, this is one I've always loved his work. My first photo book I ever got was With a Camera from Mark by Jai Tanju, and this is Atlas. You got any of Rachel's? I don't think I do. I'm trying to think. Oh, wait a minute. I do have one. Not of hers, but shoot. Dang. Dang, I meant to set it aside. I'll find it in a minute. Rachel Banks. Yeah, I don't think I do. There's one that I found that I came across a couple days ago, and I was like, oh, we should flip through that. I'll find it in a minute. CCS catalog, you spot that? Yeah. I've never done anything like this, but I think you need a lav mic so you can wander. That's true. I probably should. This is a wireless mic, so I probably should just grab it when I go venture off to the bookshelf. But yeah, I probably should. Maybe I'll try that next week, is just do a lav mic and just see how it sounds. If the audio quality sounds good, that honestly might be the way to go. It would simplify things. So good. Kevin says, hello, Matt. Some years ago, I landed on the M2 as the Leica camera for me, but I never pulled the trigger until last month when one appeared on local Facebook Marketplace. The local was a big deal. Oh, that's awesome. He says, and it's mine now. Came with a 50mm Summicron collapsible, and I'm quite pleased. Nice. It's always good when you can find one in the wild like that. I had a couple that I was friends with a long time ago. They were telling me when I was taking their engagement photos that one of his uncles that had passed, he inherited some things from him, and he was like, well, he wasn't a photographer, but he kind of just collected nice things. He has this old camera, and he was like, I'll send you a picture of it when I find it. And then he sent me a picture of it, and it was an M2 with a collapsible Summicron. You know, the works, looked brand new. And I was like, oh, well, that's amazing. you interested in selling it? Or, I was photographing their wedding not long after that. So I even offered to, essentially just barter my services for that. And he was like, nah, I think we're just going to keep it on the shelf. All right. That's cool. That's cool. Evening, Matt. Going on a long trip to Japan next month. Amazing. I'm agonizing on whether I bring my film setup or just go digital. Let's talk about it. I have never traveled internationally. I've heard dealing with getting your film through the X-ray or not through the X-ray, I guess I should say. Trying to get people to hand check your film. I've heard that international flights, you maybe deal with a little bit more resistance and like pushback when you request something like that. I can't speak to that myself, but that's just what I've heard from people. Because anytime I've said, yeah, just ask for a hand check, people are like, well, yeah, maybe in America, but not in wherever. So I'm just saying that might be an issue. Me personally, I don't know. As someone who I've been carrying around that Nikon Z8 a ton over the last few months, just trying to get more and more familiar with it. And it's like, it's such an awesome, incredible camera in all of the best ways. And at the same time, that's the reason I asked my friend Richter. I was like, hey, do you still have that FM2? Because as fun as the Z8 is, and it's just amazing as it is, I really like it. It's only made it more clear how much better I do when I have some sort of like limitation or restraint. Like being able to, all the reasons that we have heard a million times about what people like about film versus digital. I think in a setting like that, I would want to use whatever I genuinely love using the most. And film would probably be more of a headache. And on paper, I want to say, keep it simple and just bring your digital camera because it doesn't matter. And I mean, all of the things of like, you can see the photo right away. You know what you have. You can make backups and backups and backups on site if you needed to with different hard drives, etc. But at the same time, I'm also feeling like if you're going to Japan and this is like you said a long trip to Japan. I'm assuming this is a big deal. Whatever you genuinely feel more comfortable and what you would like to use. It's a long-winded way of saying use what you want. but that's genuinely like that's where my head's at. That's how I feel about it. There's going to be so much convenience to just taking a digital camera and not having to worry about packing film, paying for the film, exposing and developing and all those things properly, all of that. But if you're like weighing out your options, it sounds like maybe you want to shoot film, but you're not sure if you want to deal with the headache, which I get. But yeah, I mean, you're only going this one time, maybe, presumably. You could always go again, but I'm just saying, you get the point. Yep. He says, heart says film, head says digital. Hey, I get it, man. We all get it. Yeah, whatever's going to make you enjoy it the most. Oh yeah. Yeah, I do hear there's a lot of like photography community and resources, obviously, in Japan. So it's amazing. One day I'd like to go. Thoughts on the work of Robert Adams? I've only now discovered his work. Ashamed to say. Oh, don't be ashamed. Yeah, great. Amazing work. We've talked about Robert Adams some on the channel. I think we talked about, maybe we talked about American Silence, I think. I feel like maybe we looked at it on stream. I can't remember, but yeah. Robert Adams is great. I've actually been reading a couple of his books as well, not just photography, but the like essays and things. Really great stuff. Jack says, if I'm flying somewhere, I try to just buy film whenever I'm flying to sending it via the mail. Yeah, there you go. Shipping it rather than, traveling with it on you. Thanks for hanging, Pete. Whoop. Thanks for hanging. See you next week, man. Mel says, to be frank, I've been shooting more with my phone at the moment. Been really enjoying it. Weird how buying a Leica has encouraged me to shoot more on my phone as well. Yeah, there's I don't know. There's a stigma, I think, about like using your phone when you're a photographer. But I have so many, especially like photos with the family. Sometimes that's just what you have and it's what works, Vince, what's up, dude? Good to see you. I need a point and shoot camera for documenting my family. Which camera would you recommend? Leica Q, X100V, GR3, or else? X100V. Out of those, I would go with the X100V. I haven't used a GR3. I would like to try one out at some point. I feel like there's a chance I would like it. But out of any of the like point and shoot style cameras, the X100 series is still, I think, just the V is probably, I don't know. They came out with a new model and people are still selling the V for more than it retailed for when it was new. It's wild, but I still think those cameras are great. Surprised I haven't used the GR3. Yeah, that one, it's kind of shocking that I haven't either. I wanted to there for a while. The 40 millimeter equivalent one that they came out with, I was really curious about that as well. But maybe, I don't know, at some point. RX 100. I've heard good things about the RX 100s as well. Mark V you have, Kevin? Chad Roberts, have you ever done anything with press cameras? I suddenly ended up with two from a deceased person. One is a Graflex speed graphic from the 30s. I think the other one is a Horseman. The only press style camera that I have is the Goose, the 600 SE. And it's the only back I have for it is the Polaroid back. The Mamiya press and some of those cameras that have the roll film backs, or you could swap it out for the instant film back. I feel like those were the main ones that I used to see, but I haven't owned any of those, or I haven't really done anything with them. The modularity, like the fact that you can do so much with them, and those cameras are really popular with like modding, being able to adapt different types of film backs to those systems. So yeah, even if you don't end up doing anything with them in that current state, look up online like people modifying press cameras, a lot of instant film being used with the press cameras, check those out. Yeah, Vince, the 40 millimeter, 28 millimeter is just it's too wide for me for most uses. That's why the original Leica Q, I couldn't do it. I needed something a little bit tighter. Pause. Gave my daughter my 100V so she can document her firstborn. I had Leica Q, so I don't really miss it. Oh, that's awesome. That's sweet. Those are great. Actually, the X100V, that's what I used at the hospital when our youngest was born. I just brought that in there with me. The previous two was like all M6 and FM2. And then when Forrest was born, I think I brought maybe my M6 or something with me, but I think I shot everything with the X100V. Yeah, they're great on the shelf. That's the other thing too, Chad, is those cameras do at least look good, so even if you don't end up using them. Yeah, the X100 market is wild. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with everything going. I mean, I assuming the demand, but like, I don't know. I don't understand I guess TikTok people said that it like really took off with like that, like the a demographic of people who maybe aren't photographers but like want an aesthetic camera. I just remember people saying like, "Oh, this is TikTok's favorite camera." It's funny how stuff like that, it's like certain things catch on with a wider audience. I mean, Instax in general, Instax film, those cameras. I wonder what the percentage between photographers who buy Instax cameras versus just like the everyday crowd. Anyone have any experience with Bogan enlargers for darkroom printing? I just picked one up for super cheap on Facebook Marketplace, trying to get a janky setup going. Hell yeah, Jack. I don't have any experience with that enlarger in particular. But you don't need a ton other than, you know, the enlarger and your safe lights, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I just got my enlarger back not too long ago. It's can you see it? I don't think you can. You can almost see it over there. It's it's just collecting a bunch of stuff right now. Kevin, thanks for hanging. Love you, player. Any experience with 1930s era folding cameras? Man, none. Just ended up with one that shoots 6x11. Gonna get some cheap black and white 120 to test through it. Haven't stepped into medium format yet. Well, that'll be an interesting one to get started with. I can't say none. Like, I have tried some of those old folding cameras, probably from that same era, that would use the 620 film instead of the 120. It's basically the same film size. It's just a different spool that it was rolled onto. So I took 120 film and then re-rolled it onto that spool in a dark bag so that I could take that old camera out and shoot with it. And the results were fine, but it wasn't anything, the camera itself wasn't anything special or anything that I was like shooting with, learning about. So like, I can't really say anything about it other than you'd be surprised at the results you can still get with that. Vince, thank you for being here. Welcome to the channel. Members, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, dude. Yeah, channel members. Speaking of, he said, okay, I guess it didn't renew, but I'm back. You're here. appreciate you, man. Yeah, channel members. I think I'm gonna start adding a second night in the weekly streams, like a second night for channel members specifically. So we'll still continue doing the weekly Wednesday night streams here for everybody, and then doing a separate channel member stream as well. But I need to talk to all of you and kind of figure out when the best time would be, because most of the channel members are here on Wednesday nights, and so need to find other times that everyone is also available. So we'll figure that out. But yeah, I want to get some extra streams going on, as well as like those kind of streams, more behind the scenes stuff with the channel, new videos working on, just direct feedback, like for myself, feedback for any of you if you have questions, obviously, but like getting direct feedback from the channel members as well is something I want to do. So did everyone see the ribs Matt posted on Instagram? I was thinking about that community barbecue. I will say my wife and my brother both said that those were the best ribs I've ever made. So I don't know. I'm just saying. It's some things come naturally. Or maybe I can get XE4 with a 27 millimeter. Any thought? Did some research and they said it's the same as the X100V. Yeah, those XE4s, essentially the same thing, but you get to choose the lens. And yeah, that 27 millimeter, getting a like compact, that's like a pancake lens if I remember right. So super compact setup. Could be another, a good option. It would save you some money going that route instead of the X100 series. And if you did want to get other lenses down the road, could be a good option. Absolutely. Share the ribs. Dude, yeah, I got the ribs recipe is real simple too. I do it the same every time. Oh, what's up, Suzanne? Good to see you. Everyone should check out Suzanne's work. Always love seeing her work. She's great. Mel, can't do ribs, but they did look nice. Well, thank you. We do have some vegan friends that come over, and I'll do some like cauliflower, like smoked cauliflower with like some spice on it. I've put tofu on the smoker for a couple other vegan friends before. We got something for everybody. Don't worry. Barbecue live stream. Hell yeah. Just sitting out by the smoker. That's the thing. I've got like, I'm not a I don't know. If you look up like barbecue content on YouTube, it's all like, yeah, we're men and meat eaters and it's like all stuff like that. And it's funny seeing, you get like snobs in the photography community or photography world, whatever, who are like, oh, I would never, like people who would turn their nose up at a digital camera and are like, I would never, it's not real, it's not whatever. It's funny seeing that same sort of like attitude in other lanes. And so like reading comments on like barbecue videos and people are talking about like a pellet smoker, which is what I use, versus, like a traditional, whatever you would want to, you get what I'm saying. I'm blanking on the word now. But yeah, it's like stuff like that people get really serious arguments over. It's really funny. Like you would kind of, I don't know. I just thought that was like a weird photographer thing, but I guess those kind of people are particular everywhere. I still think there's something in you doing a barbecue zine. That would actually rule. There's got to be a way that I can combine. I thought, because I've gotten messages and comments from people saying like, do a barbecue video. And I'm like, I mean, I could. It's my channel. I can make what I want. That's actually kind of one of the things I was talking about in the video I was just working on yesterday. But I don't want to just make a barbecue video, but I'm always thinking of or looking for ways to sort of like merge all of the different things. And I don't know, doing some sort of like if there was I'm not a food photographer. I've taken photos for like businesses, and I've taken food photos. I've taken photos of food for restaurants, businesses, that kind of stuff. But I'm not someone that's not my specialty. So I thought it would be fun to like get a professional food photographer, someone who actually can speak on it from experience, get their thoughts and feedback and like just sort of direction. And then me try to apply that and essentially like, stage set up photos of the barbecue. So like we can shoehorn in a little bit of that, but then also it can be about photography. I don't know. That's a thought. Let me know. Scratch and sniff stickers included in the zine. Hell yeah. You got to head out. Well, thanks for hanging, Matt. KEH should sponsor the barbecue community event. I'm sure they would be interested in something like that. That seems like something right up their alley. Just found a Rolleiflex Automat 1, 3.5. Is that camera not as good as the post-war? The value is way less. I only spent $150. No, you'll get great results out of that. Those 3.5 lenses, the Tessar lenses as well. You can get a lot of great results with those older Rolleiflexes. Any of the older TLRs, it doesn't have to be a Rolleiflex, but the 3.5 Rolleiflex line in comparison to the 2.8, a lot of people would swear by the 2.8, and those lenses are amazing, but the 3.5 lenses are awesome, and even the much older ones like that. So yeah, enjoy it. Do you have a favorite Robert Adams book? Just getting into his work with an old copy of Summer Nights. That's a great one. I mean, American Silence is a great one because of how dense it is. We'll take a look at that while we keep talking about barbecue. This is a really, really dense book. And so the thing is, like, include some barbecue rub and a baggie at the end of the zine to come full circle. There you go. Infuse the paper with a smoky smell. We're onto something here. Books like this is like sort of a retrospective, so it's not one particular project or one particular book all about one thing. It's the retrospective. Typically, it's going to have stuff from a lot of different projects. And so some people, they like to consume these in a way where you're consuming it as like the project. Does that make sense? You're consuming it the way it was shot and essentially as it was intended to be seen. So with something like this, you're kind of getting that in a way, but you're also getting a lot of other things. It's like buying a greatest hits album versus buying the actual album that those songs originally came out on. Does that make sense? That's the way I've always thought about it. Retrospective books that are kind of the here's everything. It's great because, I mean, at the end of the day, we want the content of the photos. And for instance, this book, it has so many. It doesn't just have one series. You can see here, it has things from several different projects. Skip the introduction a little bit because we can't read all of that. It is worth, that's the other thing, though, again, with the density of this book, there's so much to it. That right there in itself is a lot of context and a lot of information. So, if you do pick this book up, it's worth reading, obviously, but, you know, this book, the way the photos are printed, it's this, like, matte, textured, kind of like fine art sort of paper. Works really well, I think, for Robert Adams' work specifically. And I think with Robert Adams, like, and a lot of other photographers, I'm sure, not every photographer, but Robert Adams, regardless of year or series, location, etc. Oh, whoops. I said a word that triggered my phone into thinking I was asking for assistance. No, thank you. Yeah, anyway, lost my train of thought. Everything with Robert Adams, to me, no matter what year or place or anything, it all goes well together. So, Taylor, I triggered yours as well. Apologies. Just got Hiroshi Sugimoto's Time Retrospective. Great way to enjoy some work that is hard to find otherwise. Good looking out. I'll have to look into that one. I had Sugimoto's, what was it? Architecture. I don't think I still do. No, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I sold that one. I did. It was like all out of focus architecture work. I mean, I sold it, but it was cool. But yeah, the nice thing about, like I said, with Robert Adams' work, I think in a big retrospective like this, no matter what project or time frame, it all plays really well. And you can see here, just in like a quick kind of glance, this is the stuff that I love his wide open landscape stuff, but like these suburban shots, the nights at home, and like, I'm a sucker for this sort of like midday hard light, just all of the lines and shadows and some of those. Yeah, just great. But this is like I said, a really, really dense book, and yeah, it's a big one. So I don't know about favorite, but I would say that's probably the one that I go to the most, simply because it has just about everything. Like, if I want to look at Robert Adams' work, this is going to get what I'm looking to get out of his work. I don't have to see any specific photos of his or specific projects. Give me a big, wide plate of Robert Adams' work. Have you seen Jessica Lange's book, Derive? In particular, she did during COVID. No, I didn't know. Actually, that sounds like maybe I remember reading that she was a photographer as well. But I don't believe I've ever seen it. That sounds cool, though. I actually like to go out midday to shoot. I like the shadows. Yeah, it's funny. Like, I always used to prefer a slightly overcast day when I was shooting portraits for a living, because it works great for that. But when I'm just walking around with my camera, I really wish, or I really hope to have, some sort of strong enough light that it's giving me some kind of shape to work with. You know what I mean? Oh, what's up, Aaron? I just found out about the Trent Park photo book monument. I don't believe I have that one. Park. No. I have Minutes to Midnight by Trent Park. We can take a look at that one if you guys want. 50 photographs by Jessica Lang. We'll have to look for the others mentioned. Okay, 50 photographs. I'll look for all of these. Like I said, I think I remember reading that she was a photographer, but I don't think I've ever seen her work. Here's talking about Trent Park. Right here is Minutes to Midnight by Trent Park. Trying to think what year. This is a relatively old one. I've had this copy for quite a while. If you've never seen Trent Park's work or this book before, this is a very coveted photo book, I'll say. It's a very, very popular book, one that feels like one that when you think of, I wouldn't say like cliches, but it's just one that you see a lot, I guess. It's referenced a lot. Pretty sure when I first saw this book, all I wanted to do was push Tri-X, like 2 or 3 stops at least. Everything is so heavy contrast and grainy. It just has such a stylized look, you know. Love this one. This one's hard to see on camera. It's so good, though. I'm just letting this one sit for a minute. The first time I saw that one got me. Like they are just glowing. Absolutely cooked the film. Yeah, just so good. Like the way that the shadow is perfectly fit within this strip of light right here. I love that. This is one of those shots that I mean, I guess composition wise it works, but it's one of those where I'm not caring about any of this other stuff so much. Maybe if it looked different, I'd be, singing a different tune, I guess. But it's just one of those where I'm like, I could care less. We were talking earlier about like the way certain things are shot or if things are cut off or whatever. It's just, yeah, this right here is all you need. Love it though. First diptych in a while, so I'll zoom back out. I love these though when you're shooting through the glass and just playing with getting the outside and inside overlaying like that. Another sort of classic one that when you see if the book is being mentioned or discussed anywhere, whether it be like an article or an Instagram post or something, this is often one of the photos that you'll see get shared. Another one. I love the harsh contrast in all of this. So many times I'm like so particular about, not crushing the blacks or like clipping any of the highlights or things. When I'm whether it be a film scan or a digital file, whatever, I'm all concerned about that like it matters. You know what I mean? And it's I see stuff like this and I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I could use a little bit more contrast. Thanks for hanging, Mel. We'll see you next week. Is that a raccoon? I believe it's a I don't know. It could be some wild Australian thing, but I think it's one of those like flying squirrel something or other, some kind of little critter. I'm not sure what the context is, but this is just such a emotional photo. Whoa. Bring that back. There we go. Oh, what's up, Javier? Is it more important to get the shot or have a consistent aesthetic? Yeah, that's the thing. We were kind of talking about that, or that was kind of one of the things I had in mind with that one photo. Where is it at? That one, the walking in, where it's like, in that split second, I would assume, unless he was just waiting for someone, and maybe, if we saw the actual contact sheet, maybe we could see that he was planning and was being particular about this, but this very well could have just been a split moment, or a split second, wasn't anticipating anything, and, it's like, what if this was a different person and they didn't have this interesting jacket or this bag in their hand? whatever, a million different things. And yeah, I think when it comes to something like this, I am less concerned about the composition. I mean, I like anything, I guess it's not one of those definitive answers. It's going to depend from case to case, but it is interesting to think about with the idea of like what do you place the priority on? Do you place the priority on the composition or the moment? You know, can you take an aesthetically pleasing photo in terms of composition, but have a boring photo or a photo devoid of any sort of meaning or moment, you know? And like, how do you define the moment? You know, like the whole decisive moment idea. How do you define which one that is? And also, what does that entail in terms of, are there people involved in order for there to need to be a moment or some sort of life? Like, one thing I've often thought about with, I guess, what does it mean to photograph a moment, or like, how would you? I don't know. I think it depends. It'll probably be different from person to person, but I often find if I'm photographing a place and there's no people there, there still feels like I'm trying to find the right time. And even if there are no people, I'm not waiting on someone to do something or a certain reaction. I don't know. I've been thinking about that and asking myself questions about that a lot lately. Just the idea of like, what moment is there if there's no action or no sense of time passing, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm rambling, but it's the kind of stuff that I have thought about a lot lately in terms of making the decisions on like what gets photographed, what's worth photographing, and yeah, whether or not there is the need for a moment in a photo, or if the photo itself, if that's it, you know. The photo obviously was a moment in time. That's sort of the beauty of it, and no matter what the photo is, it's a real thing. It's a real moment that passed. 2013, yeah. So that's Trent Park, Minutes to Midnight. Let me know. Have any of you seen that one before? Was that a first for you? Cracking another cold one of Coke Zero. Yeah, glad you enjoyed it. All right. First for me as well, new one for me. Awesome. That's what I like to hear. What are you in the mood for now? I'm going to take a look at the shelf here. The one-handed open is a baller move. Oh, with the can. I was like, wait, the book? I opened a book one-handed? Let's see here. What are we in the mood for? We've looked at the zines. That one. Do we need some color? Is anyone in the mood for color? First for me, never heard of him until yesterday. Some of the stuff in the book Monument seems really wild. Lots of different techniques. Yeah, that's one I don't have. I'll have to keep an eye out for that one. There was another one that I had before that I ended up selling of his. I can't remember what it was called. Crimson something. Um, let's see. Gregory Halpern. Yes. I do have Gregory Halpern. I have, and we were talking about color. This is a perfect one for that because I love the color in his work. This is ZINES by Gregory Halpern. Spelling is ZZYZX. ZINES is how I heard him pronounce it. So before that, I think I called it ZZYZX or whatever. I think I called it the Z book. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful color though. Gregory Halpern's work feels like a fever dream in a way. Let me put my mic back down. Okay. Any Stephen Shore? I do have a little bit of Stephen Shore, as well as Jason Lee's new book. Yeah, the color in Gregory Halpern's work, I love. Yes, that's right. Carlos says that's how you pronounce it. It's an exit in the middle of nowhere on the drive-in between LA and Vegas. Yeah, so I think we talked about it on a previous stream. I took the Magnum course. Some of the Magnum courses, we talked about it on a stream before. They have like the online courses you can do. I've done several, and some of them are better than others. The Gregory Halpern one is great. His is, I believe it's about, or at least a lot of it. It's all about projects, but the stuff that he does when talking about photographing people was, I thought, really insightful. So yeah, if you're a fan of his work, I would encourage you to check out his online course with Magnum. It was worth it in my opinion. Yeah, very, very high contrast. I I know at least for a lot of his work, I'm assuming for this as well, a lot of Pentax 6.7. So a lot of medium format 6.7 stuff. David, that's a good point. It says an image doesn't necessarily need to revolve about the Cartier-Bresson idea of the moment. It's made people go after it as it is a need. There are images for contemplation. There are images, constructed images hitting the Cartier-Bresson moment, etc. But I don't think all images need to go after that. Exactly. That's the thing. Maybe it's everyone wanting to get like the shot, that award-winning, once in a lifetime shot, but it's like, yeah, that's most of the time. That's not reality. That's not what we're really getting. And yeah, it doesn't need to be that every time anyway. Love when color looks like monochrome. I know exactly what you mean. One of my favorites right here. Yeah, this book, it's hard to put into words because a lot of times stuff that just feels kind of all over the place, a little bit, I don't know how to, like, individual, there's a lot of like individual details of things, like close up details of things. And sometimes it can feel random. At least to me, like the first time I remember I sat down with this book, I was like, I don't get it. And I think some of that maybe comes down to, I feel like I used to spend more time analyzing or judging individual photos when going through the book and not the book as a whole. Oh, thanks for hanging, Suzanne. See you next time. But does that make sense? Like sometimes I feel like I would see an individual photo in a book and I would be like, well, why is that in here? Why does that make the cut compared to the other photos? And it's like I was judging them all in that way. Love this photo. The expression, like she's not looking at the camera, she's looking down, but like still seeing in a way the look in her eyes. Yeah, just love that one. But I don't know if that makes sense though, but I feel like I found myself judging individual photos more and not the work as a whole. And sometimes I love that color is so rich. And so like the shadows are so dark. This is one of those where it's like, it feels like there's not much color in the photo, but the color that is there is so vivid. I love the light, everything about this photo. But it's like with this book, to me, this book had one of those sort of effects where I started looking at like individual photos, not as photos, but as like elements of the book, as character, atmosphere. It's like you're building this feel throughout the book and all of the little pieces. It's not necessarily about judging the individual photos, but it's the context, the way the photos were shot, the specific details. There's this like atmosphere building that happens through that. And there was something about this book that I think, because it has a unique look, but because it's like modern day, it's often very right in front of you, in the sense of you're not doing any kind of camera trickery to be like, what's going on here? It feels honest in that way, if that makes sense. But I don't know. There was something about it that it stood out to me in that sense of what in the first viewing felt like these seemingly random, unrelated images together. The idea of building that atmosphere and building the sort of place, the subject being Zizix, this place, adding all of these little elements as, parts of the character. Atmosphere build. Yeah, exactly. Like a feeling or a memory. Yeah, that's some of the stuff, especially with people. Sometimes it feels very fleeting, or just like very brief. Not crazy about this one. That's one of those things with anyone who is, in need or obviously not doing the best. I don't know. I don't know how much having the camera there in that moment adds, but you know. But like, I love the weird, just who knows what nature behind a lot of it. One of my favorites in the book right here. Oh, what's up, Evan? Thanks for joining. Love this one too. Matt loves photos of tarps on fences. Hey, I'm a sucker. I can't deny it. This is where the cover of the photo, of the book comes from. So when I first saw this, I had no idea. Actually, I think on the first viewing of the book, it didn't dawn on me that this pattern right here from this game is what they ended up using on the cover. But I love that. Are you familiar with Anastasia Samoilova? I hope I pronounced that properly. I am not familiar with her work, but I'll check it out. I love this one right here as well. This warm light from the tunnel, from the outside. Perfect time of day to shoot that one to get that balanced. Thought that was interesting, having these two photos side by side, but essentially, backwards. The after being on the left. See, this is something that I need to, I think it's from I don't know, years of doing photos for a living and like having a certain look, I guess. But I think just my gut reaction, if this were my photo, would be, oh, it's too dark. But it looks much better letting this light right here actually stand out more. It's little things like that I see other photographers do, and I'm like, oh yeah, maybe I should lighten up a little bit with being, not necessarily trying to get the correct result, but getting the result that, I actually want. Something I need to always remind myself. I love this photo as well because that's just such a, like, with everyone watching things on our phones, or in this case, like a very old either iPhone or iPod Touch maybe. And just the Warner Brothers opening logo. This one's very hard to see, but kind of see what's going on there. It's a nighttime sky. Brian, what's up? Says, I'm pissed I didn't get a first printing of his new book, King Queen Knave. Yeah, I didn't either. The book funds have been somewhat lacking lately. I've been telling myself I need to spend more time with the books I have before I buy more. But it does look great. Love his work. This was, 2017. So that is Zizix. It's a fun one. Gregory Halpern, great work. If you haven't seen his work before, definitely check him out. He has plenty of other books, but Zizix is the one that I think I've gravitated towards the most. But, yeah, probably wind it down here now. I've got a little bit. I might try and work, I don't know. I'm going to work on a video after this stream, but I also might work on the barn itself and try and get some progress done on clearing out some of this space over here. I have made good progress in the last week with actually sorting a lot of the stuff that's needed sorted, but taking down a bunch of shelves I think needs to happen sometime in the next week. Tyler, my right-hand man, who's always here, he's in Greece for like a month doing a video, working on a video job. I won't get too much into it. That's his business, but he's in Greece for a month and his car's here. So every time I come out to the barn, I see his car and I'm like, oh yeah, Tyler. Oh no, Tyler's not here. But he's always the one helping me with that stuff. And so I'm like, I should probably get some of it done just to pass the time. Help keep me inspired to work on what I'm currently working on. Well, Quaid, I'm happy to hear that, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We had a good time. It was fun. I'm glad this was a good time to get all of my zines in. So I'm glad we were able to look at those together. 916. Yeah, it needs trimmed. Haven't been. The last time I had a haircut scheduled was supposed to be it was either October or November, and I was late, or I was going to be late, so I had to cancel. Never did get it rescheduled. Love to learn about so many new photographers and zines. Thanks, Matt. Well, hey, I'm glad to hear that. That's again, I've said it before, that's one of the things I hope for with these streams is, at the very least, we all get to sit here or stand here and hang out and catch up. But I enjoy hearing from people saying like, oh, I didn't know about this photographer, and now I've got 3 of their books or 4 of their books or whatever. That's always cool. I've recently gotten more, I've gotten messages and emails from publishers that I really admire and photographers that I really admire, not about my work, but about my YouTube channel and like having a place that shares photo books and zines and different photographers. It's been cool that I've had recently some different publishers reach out and say like, hey, we've seen your videos, we really like them. Thanks for sharing the books. If you ever want to check out any books to share, let us know. And like at first I was I think at first I had hesitation or like reservation about doing that sort of thing. But I don't know. I don't know why. I don't need to get into it here, I guess. Now I'm just kind of thinking out loud, but it's cool. Like I appreciate that other people see value in photo books. I'm glad that making videos about them, it's weird because the whole thing I love about them is that there's no screen involved, and here I am putting them on a screen. But I don't know. I'm just thankful that people seem to enjoy it, because lately I've thought so much about what I really want to do, and like after photography, after YouTube, whatever, like if I'm going to make YouTube videos, what do I want to make them about? And I'm just glad I get to make videos about this kind of stuff. And so I appreciate you all engaging with it. It feels good. So. Oh, that's awesome, Stephen, learning bookbinding. That's great. That's something that I want to learn more myself, and like it just learn and experience that kind of stuff. And I feel like even if it's not me making the books that I'm actually selling, I want to just have that experience in the process, You'll have to send me some photos of some of the stuff you work on if you once you get into it. I'd love to see it. But yeah, appreciate you all hanging with me. And, the Wednesday night streams have been a lot of fun. Again, channel members, if you're here, need to figure out the best way to get a hold of everybody. It's the one thing I don't like about YouTube channel members, is that it's like I have to just make a community post and hope you all see it. It's not like I can send out, it's not like a newsletter type thing. So I don't know. I need to figure out a better way to get all of us together other than just here on the live streams. Probably going to start with Discord, but regardless, channel members will start doing some extra live streams as well. Maybe those we can do a little bit more like focused questions, or just whatever you guys would want it to be. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Let me know if you guys have any questions, though. Thank you for hanging here on the stream with me. Lure them in with a barbecue. There we go. Yeah. Appreciate y'all hanging. Hope you all have a great Wednesday night, rest of the week. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Love you guys. Be safe.